Hi, good morning. Let's talk about wickedness and evil. I don't think it's an easy subject, but let's do our best, yeah? So I'd like to talk to you about what makes evil. What defines someone as evil? We can say and point to this person. This person is a wicked person. How does that happen? Which people do we say that, you know? So let's start off with intent for a second. Even in a regular court of law, secular court of law, there's a difference between manslaughter and murder, right? Like vehicular manslaughter. If someone, is driving, maybe they're under the influence, and they kill someone along their way. So the court is not going to charge them with murder, like premeditated murder, first degree or second degree, third degree murder, whatever that is. They're not going to charge them like that. They're going to charge them with manslaughter. What's the difference between manslaughter and murder? It's the intent. Murder is when a person, he plans it out, he wants to kill so-and-so, and he goes and does it. Manslaughter, it happened by mistake. Why are we still charging him? Because he was drunk, he did something wrong. He's still going to get charged, but he's not going to get charged as if he did it with an intent to kill someone, right? So it's a key distinction there, that intent matters. Even in a secular court today, we can all understand intent matters. In the biblical court, there was also such a case, even where it was completely accident, where the guy had no control. So, for example, if I'm working on a work site, yeah, and I fall down a ladder that I'm climbing, and I fall onto someone and I kill him, he dies. Or if I'm chopping down a tree, yeah, and the metal part of the axe falls off, it flies off of the handle of the axe, and it hits someone and kills him. This is not the typical case of manslaughter where, the guy was drunk and he happened to kill someone, so he's getting punished for killing someone while drunk instead of actually going out and intending to murder someone, so it's a little less. It's not even that. This is a case where we call it an inus. There was nothing to do with me. I'm climbing down the ladder and the ladder breaks. Yeah, I'm not drunk. I'm not being silly. I'm climbing down the ladder on my work site. The ladder breaks. I fall down and I land on the guy. He dies. Or I'm using a normal axe, I'm doing normal things with the tree, somehow the axe flies off the handle and kills the guy. Totally random, nothing I could have done about it. Even in such a case, according to the biblical law, first of all, the court would not kill this guy. Because to kill someone for murder, he has to have intent, he has to have witnesses who warned him against it. There's a whole series. But the victim's family, the guy who got killed by mistake, they can go and kill the guy who killed their family member. Even though he killed him by mistake and it was a complete accident, it wasn't his fault, they can still go and kill him unless he's in the city of refuge. So, if he's in a city of refuge, they cannot go and kill him. What's this whole concept and this whole idea of the city of refuge? It sounds very bizarre. Meaning if even a guy who kills by accident deserves to be killed by the victim's family. So first of all, why can only the victim's family kill him? Why can't anyone just kill this guy? Why can't the court kill him? And also, why could the victim's family kill him, but not in the city of refuge? What's this concept of a city of refuge? Or we should kill him or we shouldn't. Why are you letting him go to a city of refuge? And why can only the family members kill, right? So I think the idea is that we're not really holding him responsible from a court perspective. From a court perspective, if you killed someone by mistake, obviously you're not wicked and you're not deserving of the death penalty. But there's something greater going on here. God decreed that this person must enter into the city of refuge and live as a refugee due to whatever sins this man has done in the past. Maybe he once killed someone on purpose, maybe, but there was no witnesses, so the court couldn't kill him. Maybe he's done something in the past, but for whatever reason, God decided, I'm going to make a situation where this person's going to have to be a refugee. He's going to have to run away because the victim's family is going to come after him and try to kill him. He's going to have to live the rest of his life in this city of refuge. It's not really the rest of his life. It's until the high priest dies. Whenever the high priest dies in the court, in the temple, whoever's in the city of refuges, they get to go free. The city, yeah. All of this, I'm trying to build a little bit of a picture here of what makes someone guilty, and not just guilty, what makes someone completely wicked. When would we point to someone and say, this is a wicked person? I think if I polled my Facebook right now, I would get 100% of people willing to agree. Hitler wicked, completely wicked. He doesn't have a good point inside of him. He needs to die. If you could find Hitler as a baby, you should kill him. I think that's what most of my Facebook would say. Same with Hamas and Hezbollah and ISIS. I think most of us would agree these movements, these people are completely wicked. And if you can destroy them, you should destroy them. Probably even at a point when they were innocent. Meaning if you find 4-year-old Hitler, just kill him. Better off for the world. It's a completely wicked force and power, right? I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying I think we can all more or less agree that there's a definitive wickedness, there's an evil that we can define and pinpoint on a person and say this person is wicked. You can also argue the counter and say that's a little absurd. How can you say someone's completely wicked? Everyone has a good point inside of them. You could say many things. You could say traumatized people, right? Hurt people. Someone who's a rapist, chances are he was raped by someone else when he was a child. And this is just his mentality, right? You can argue whatever you want to argue. We can address all that in a minute. But the fact is, the Bible does talk about one group called Amalek. Amalek is the group that they attacked Israel as they were leaving Egypt, on their way into the Holy Land. No one wanted to start up with Israel. Everyone knew what God had done to Egypt. The world superpower Egypt was just destroyed, utterly destroyed. Their forces, their army, their economy, the people, everything was just destroyed. Their kingdom was destroyed, yeah? So you have this one nation, and the Torah Jewish sages, they compare them like this. They compare it to, you have a very, very hot bath. A very hot bath. It was so dangerous, no one can go in. One guy comes along and he goes in the bath and dies. But because he went into the bathtub, he cooled down the waters a little bit, and after that, slowly and slowly, people started going into the bathtub. The same is with Amalek and Israel. No one wanted to attack Israel. You retarded? So Amalek attacks Israel, and they lose. But after that, other nations start to attack Israel, yeah? So this is Amalek. They don't really care. They knew they're going to lose. They're not in it to win it. Their primary existence and their primary purpose for existence, their primary agenda, is just to make problems for the God of Israel. The God of Israel, they have an agenda against the God of Israel. This is Amalek. They have an agenda against the God of Israel, and they have an agenda against Israel. And according to the biblical law, we must kill. We don't do it today. For whatever reasons, we don't do it today, and it's not applicable today maybe. But according to the letter of the law, biblical law, Amalek, we destroy, we kill them. They're men, they're women, and their children. So this goes back, would you kill 4-year-old Hitler or 5-year-old Hitler or not? If he's Amalek, according to the biblical law, you'd kill him even as a child. Even as a child doesn't matter, before they've done anything wrong in their life. Not only that, even their sheep and their goats and their donkey, all their animals. You kill all their animals, everything that they own. It sounds a little extreme to say even their animals, but I'll tell you a couple things. First of all, a lot of the pagans would use their animals for sex. So I don't know if that's enough reason to kill the animals, but I'm just saying these animals are not so pure and holy. But second of all, they were shapeshifters. The king of Amalek, his name was Agag. He for sure was a shapeshifter. I think they were all shapeshifters, but they were he was able to turn himself into an animal. So I think part of the reason why we killed their animals also is because their animals are human. They were shapeshifting from animal to human to animal. So we just killed them all. But you definitely can see from the biblical perspective that there is such a concept of being pure evil, being pure wicked, where we would have to kill them, not only kill them, but their women and their children and their animals. There is such a concept, and that's Amalek. Now I'm bringing this up because I want to address it I want to apply it to us. Like in our generation. So who would you say is on that kind of level of they're categorically evil and wicked? Probably Hitler, right? Probably Hitler. Even though I could also argue for Hitler. Like, I don't really know what was in Hitler's head. I'm sure you have at some point tried to figure out what was going on in Hitler's head. I have. I've tried to imagine if I was Hitler, what was I thinking, Is he just really on a rampage against God and God's people, or in his mind was he really doing the correct thing? You ever think for a second, did Hitler think he was doing the right thing? Maybe he thought he was doing the right thing by just, killing, whoever he deemed as a problematic person, whatever, blacks, Jews, gypsies, disabled people. It's very hard to wrap your head around it, and I'm not saying I'm there. I'm saying I do think he was completely wicked. And why? I'll tell you why I think he was completely wicked. But before we say why he's completely wicked, I think it's important to question it. What does it mean that someone's completely wicked? And even if there's someone that seems completely wicked, can we say that maybe not? Maybe he's in his own mind, he's rationalizing it and justifying it. Maybe because he doesn't have a sense of right and wrong so much because he was so hurt. Or maybe because, power and greed is blinding him, right? So I think it's safe to say, and I think many of you would agree with me, we can draw the line by someone who's willfully, right, with his own choice, he's choosing to hurt other people to gain something. If someone is choosing to hurt another person in order to gain something, we could say I think that's wicked and evil. So for example, rape. A rapist, he's gonna willfully hurt another person, fuck their whole life up, right? This person, this victim, their whole life is gonna be messed up. They're never gonna be the same. And the rapist is willing to do it just for a little bit of pleasure. It doesn't, right? He doesn't care about the other person. So I think you would all agree with me, that's wicked and that's evil, right? Someone who's going to hurt another person, destroy their life in order for satisfaction. Which Hitler was. Hitler and all his cronies, they were willfully hurting other people in order to gain something out of it, right? That's wicked and evil. The problem is, let's take it to today. In the last few years, we've had people, quote-unquote, leaders of the communities, whether they were people that run $1 million organizations within the Jewish communities of supposedly to help in medical or different areas, you know, whether they were rabbis, quote-unquote rabbis, leaders of synagogues. We've seen a lot of community leaders in every community, but I'm talking in the Jewish community right now, who, or they took money, like actual bribes, or they were threatened. But a lot of these people came out and we're saying extreme things like, if you don't take the vaccine, you cannot show up to synagogue. If you're not wearing a mask, you cannot show up to synagogue. Synagogues must be closed down if they have more than 10 people. Blah, like retarded things that make no sense. And we can question it. We can say maybe some of these people actually believed what they were saying, you know? Maybe some of these people, like rabbis or askanim or whatever, really believed it. They really believed it. They really believed that we're all going to die unless we all get vaccinated and we all wear masks and stop showing up to synagogue. So in that case, they wouldn't be evil, they would just be dumb. And there's a very big difference between being dumb and wicked, right? If even in a secular court today, if we can prove that someone didn't mean to kill someone, he was just being dumb and killed the guy by accident, we wouldn't charge him with murder, we charge him with manslaughter, right? There's a difference. Intent matters. So if these people were just dumb, right? They were just dumb, we wouldn't hold them as being wicked. We would say they made a mistake, and it's much more easy to forgive a guy who made a mistake than someone who's willfully acting in a wicked way. Going back to our definition of wickedness, right? I was saying that it's someone who willfully hurts another person for some kind of gain, selfish gain. I think a lot of these community leaders did have an intention to hurt other people in order to gain something. Meaning, not everyone. I'm sure a lot of them really, really believed in what they were saying, or they didn't really believe in what they were saying, but they didn't think it would be that damaging. And when, you know, if you're being faced with $1 million bribe, even $100,000 in a bribe, it's very hard to say no. If you're struggling to make money, it's very hard to say no. Money blinds. Money blinds. In a biblical court, they're very, very strict with bribery. Even something that's not worth a penny. If it's between the judge and the defendant, the judge is not a kosher judge. We have to get a new judge. Even if it's not worth anything. The fact is, anytime you have a selfish interest, you cannot be a kosher judge. You can't actually judge the case in a kosher way. We're very, very, very motivated by money and by honor and different things. So I don't think every rabbi that told people they can't show up to synagogue without a vaccine and a mask is wicked. And I wouldn't say they're Amalek. I wouldn't say that. But what I'm trying to bring up here is to draw a line and say, when do we say these people were just dumb? And when do we say they crossed the line and they're actually wicked? And you could ask the same question about a rapist. When do you say a rapist is just... Listen, he's just a fucked up person. He was being raped his whole life as a child. He doesn't know love. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is violence. So he goes around raping people. And you try to defend it and say, not that it's okay to rape people, but he's not wicked. He's just fucked up, right? He's just fucked up. Like, a lot of people want to defend the rabbis of today. And they want to say they're not wicked rabbis. They're not Amalek. They're just dumb. They're just fucked up. They're dumb. They're fucked in the head, right? So I want to say, why is it different to say it about a rapist? The guy's a poor Nebuch rapist. He's just fucked in the head. He got fucked his whole life by other people. So now he's going around raping people. He's just doing what he learned, right? It sounds retarded, but the fact is, this is what the Jewish community is saying about our leaders. We're saying they weren't really trying to fuck us over. They just got bribed with money, and they're just dumb. They don't know science, and they just follow Fauci. So I'm not trying to say right or wrong. I'm not trying to label any specific people as wicked or not wicked. I'm trying to bring up a question that I myself don't have the answer to, which is, When do we define the line and say the guy is not just dumb, he's not just being bribed, but he's actually wicked? This guy's an actually wicked person, and we need to kill him, his kids, his animals. When do you say that? And it could be we never say that. It could be it's only a specific lineage of DNA called Amalek. But my question is, how do we define them? How do we know who's Amalek? You know? How do we know? Is there no signs? Is there no signs? You know? What's the difference between a hurt person and a wicked person? What's the difference between a dumb person and a wicked person? How do you know the difference? I don't have an answer, you know? Right, Amalek's only purpose is to fight against God, the God of Israel, and to fight against Israel. I always thought Amalek is doubt. Amalek and doubt, right? Amalek, the nation of Amalek, Ayin Mem Lamed Kuf, and doubt in Hebrew, Samach Pei Kuf, they have the same numerical value. And it does tell you something about that Amalek inside of us, and also Amalek in the world, is trying to conquer us with doubt, trying to make us doubt ourselves, doubt our God, right? That's definitely one of their avenues of attack. The Amalekites no longer exist as a nation, rather their DNA in all of us, and so is the DNA of all the people of the people of Israel. Okay, I've had this thought that Amalek or Erev Rav is inside of us. It's not so much outside of us, it's more inside of us. We have to, but again, you would agree. I think most of us would agree Hitler was pretty much personified Amalek, right? You could even say today, like ISIS, Hezbollah, Hamas, all these terrorist groups, they're very much like Amalekite energy. It's time for us to kill the Amalekites that are inside of ourselves and bring out the Israel in all of us. You have just entered the dawning of the age of awakening. There is no prophet or man of God commanding anyone to kill indiscriminately, because if it continues, there will be no city of refuge for any of us. We are the gods. Okay, today for sure, we don't kill an Amalekite. That's because we don't know who's who. But there are stories, Hasidic stories, of rabbis that were having issues with specific Gentiles that they knew for sure they were Amalek, and they prayed holy names and killed them with holy names and stuff like that. Today, for sure not. Today, we don't. You can't just go and kill someone and say, well, I know he's Amalek, so I killed him. Absolutely not. Anyways, I don't really have an answer or more to say, but this is what I wanted to address. I tried to chat with the AI. I didn't really get a good answer. But this is my pondering question: is when do we say someone's wicked versus just being dumb or traumatized? And Rabbi Nachman has a very powerful statement where he says in Torah Reish Pei Beis 282, he says there is a process where you find the good point in someone, even someone who's completely wicked, even a completely wicked person. You find the good points inside of them, and through the good points that you find inside of this person, where in that small one point they're actually not wicked, they're actually completely righteous within that one point, you can actually bring them back and cause them to return in repentance. So you can look at someone who's completely wicked. Yeah, they're completely wicked. They're not just traumatized. They're not just being bribed and blind. No, they're actually completely wicked. Find within that person a good point. Focus on that good point. You can actually change that person. So that's incredible by itself, that my perspective of you can change you. I can cause you to change by how I think about you. That's already incredible. But beyond that, it sounds kind of like he's saying, like, there really is no such thing as a wicked person. It's more like, am I in a state of wickedness versus not being in a state of wickedness? How are you going to change my nature by how you look at me? I mean, maybe yeah, maybe not, but it sounds more to me, it's not that we're trying to change a person from being wicked to non-wicked. It sounds like wicked is a state of being. Am I in a state of being of wickedness versus, not? And it also makes sense to me with the rapist, where I said that, like, a rapist most probably got raped himself, right? Most probably if someone's raping other people, they were probably raping themselves. Which again connects to this idea of being in a state of wickedness versus being essentially wicked. Not that the person was born wicked, but no, they're in a state of wickedness because they were surrounded by wickedness, maybe by their choice, maybe by not. But they got surrounded by wickedness, the wickedness entered them, and now they're living in a state of wickedness. I can remove them from that wickedness, maybe, by my thoughts and how I judge them. But this would seem more like that. It's not that there's people that are just wicked people, but wickedness is a state that you can be attracted to or forced upon. Like wickedness is more like a state of being, right? Anyways, I don't think there's too many truly wicked people. And even if there are truly, truly wicked people, I don't think they really exist within the Jewish nation, you know? I mean, I've had bad encounters with Jews and obviously also good encounters with Jews. I don't think there's a single person that I can point to, whether a rabbi, an askan, dayan, just a friend or an enemy, whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's a person I can point to and say, I really believe he's completely wicked. No, I think a lot of them are traumatized. A lot of them were bribed with money. A lot of them, you know, are just selfish. A lot of them are not thinking clearly. To say that the guy's completely wicked? No, a guy that's completely wicked will have no problem taking a baby, raping it to death. And I don't think there's a single Jew, that I'm aware of, whether I've met them or not met them, but someone that I can name and say, yeah, I think they would actually take a baby and rape it to death. I don't think you know anyone like that. I don't think anyone watching this knows a person that they can say, yeah, they would probably take a baby and rape them to death. That's retarded. It's retarded, right? Although there have been civilizations that have done such things. And it's possible it still goes on today. You know, and there are crazy things that go on, you know? So, it's all part of this bigger question. What is really evil? Is it a state of existence or is it an identity? And who is truly evil and wicked, you know? Wicked people are green and have a tail, like the, what's it called? The lizards? The reptilians? I don't know how much I believe in any conspiracy theories, but I'm also not opposed, by the way. I don't know if that's where you're going, but I'm also not opposed. I feel like the best strategy is in these things is to say, like the Hasidim said, or the Jewish sages have said, whoever it comes from, I know that I know nothing, you know? Is the earth flat or round? I don't know. I know nothing. You're going to tell me the earth is round because you've seen a picture from NASA? I'm going to still say, I know that I don't know anything. I'm not going to say the world is flat either. Earth is flat. I'm not going to say that either. I don't know. I'm going to say, I know that I don't know anything. And I think it's a very good approach, you know? Even with the vaccines. To say that it's for sure poison and it's going to kill everyone who took the vaccine, they're all going to die? I don't know. I don't know anything. All I know is that I don't know anything. And to say that I should take the vaccine and if I don't take the vaccine, I'm going to die? Also, I don't know. All I know is that I don't know anything. It's a very good approach because in general, the Jewish approach, the rabbis, the sages' approach is when you don't know what to do, you don't do anything. It's called shev ve'al ta'aseh. Shev means like return or sit. Ve'al ta'aseh, and don't do anything. Ve'al ta'aseh, and don't do. So in general, when you have a conundrum in halach, in biblical law, and you don't know what to do, the suggestion is, or the law is, actually I should say the law is, sit and do nothing. So it's always the best approach, I think, just to say, all I know is that I don't know anything. And then if someone's going to say, okay, so are you going to take the vaccine or not? I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to put some potentially poison in my body. And if they're going to tell me, well, you might die if you don't take it, I'll say, well, when in doubt, don't do anything. So I'm not going to do anything because I'm in doubt, right? Their face is changing. I've seen videos. I've seen it with their eyes and fluttering. It's a little weird. Also, I've seen many people when they're talking do the same thing. I don't think they're shape-shifting, but I think it also has to do with levels of consciousness. Like when you're trying to think deeply and tap into your higher realms of consciousness, I think it's like a very natural thing. I've seen people doing this a lot, you know, where they go like this, like, you know, they're trying to think. I don't think they're shape-shifting. I mean, some of them maybe, but I think a lot of people, I think it's like a dimension change. Maybe it is like a shape-shifting change. Yo, how much do you think the birds know? On a recent acid trip, not so recent, like 3 months ago, I kind of got into this feeling that the birds literally know our thoughts because, you know, the birds, they call to each other. You know, they call, one bird calls and then you hear another bird respond and they all respond in like a line, you know? It's like you can hear. So I started off by just trying to get in on their call. When one of them called and they're all calling back, I also called back, you know? But then I initiated a call. I tried to imitate the bird sound, you know? And these birds started answering, you know? Like, I started the call. You know how, like one bird starts the call, another one continues, and then they all continue, right? So after a while of me just joining in their call, I just started my own call. And they responded. I would start, you know, make the noise, and then they would all chirp, you know? And then after that, once I was already like in tune, again, I was on a bunch of levels of acid. Once I was in tune with them a little bit, I started to notice that every time in my head I was laughing, just laughing at silly jokes in my head. I don't know, I'm just tripping on acid, just laughing in my head. Every time I'm laughing, I noticed, hey, they all started laughing with me. So I'm kind of thinking, I think the birds know exactly what's going on. King Solomon knew the language of the birds, and because of this, he was able to know all the secrets of the world. It's not just it's not retarded. I think the birds actually know what's going on, and if you can understand the language of the birds, you could really know all the secrets of creation, everything that's going on, all the happenings of the world. And I think it's so strong that they don't even have to hear you. The birds don't even have to hear you. I think they know what's going on in your thoughts. So when you hear the birds chirping, you should just know they're chattering about you. They're also chattering about other people, but they're chattering about you. And I think the more you give them attention, the more they play with you. They might hide from you. Like if I notice when I try to feed the birds, when I try to feed the birds, like I give like a ton of food because I thought they'd all come running. They didn't come. They all ignored me, They play games. The birds they play, I think they're like women. They're very much like women, To give them too much attention, they withdraw, So they definitely play games, but I think they definitely know things. And the more you pay attention to them, I think the more they are involved. Although if you have to be discreet about it, like a girl, she wants exactly what you want, but she wants you to be discreet about it. She wants it to be very discreet. So I think the birds are the same way. They want everything to be very discreet. You can't go around talking to them out loud and telling everyone what the birds are saying. They'll start ignoring you. I think that's how it works, I freaking love birds. When I was a child, I was obsessed with birds. I used to sit outside by the window watching the birds, trying to see the different type of birds that pass by. Blue birds, red birds, Anyways, y'all, l'chaim. Should have a good day. It's Rosh Chodesh Kislev, which means today's the first. Well, not today. Tonight. So here, the sun is just setting now. So in the next 72 minutes, it's going to be completely dark. Whatever. In 72 minutes from when the sun disappears beyond the horizon, it takes about 72 minutes, and it's Seisei Kochavim. It's completely dark. It's the next day. So in about an hour, it's going to be Tuesday. Technically, right? Monday night becomes Tuesday, and it's going to be the ball just went down, so you got 72 minutes. Then it's going to be Rosh Chodesh, the second day of Rosh Chodesh, so the first day of the new month, right? When you have a 2 days Rosh Chodesh, the first day of Rosh Chodesh is the last day of the previous month. So Cheshvan, the last day of Cheshvan was today, and tonight, meaning tomorrow and tonight, is going to be the first day of Kislev. The first day of Kislev is the month of Hanukkah. So on the 25th day of Hanukkah, so in another 24 days. We're going to light the menorah, eat fried foods, buy each other presents, the whole deal. L'chaim, Joel. I think I've made a bracha. I think so. Anyway, why I wanted to know who's evil and who's not? Mostly I was wondering about people that misled us during Corona. Do you give them a second chance, or do you just write them off completely? Do you just let's say, there was a certain politician or a certain rabbi that really misled the people during Corona, which is a lot of them. Even Trump, by the way. Trump was super into the vaccine, and the vaccine hurt a lot of people, And he didn't fight the lockdowns as much as he had the power to. What do you mean? He's president of the United States. He had a lot more power to fight the lockdowns, right? So even Trump, and then a lot of rabbis that we can name, a lot of these people were not on our side during Corona. So everyone has all the answers, like, oh, Trump was playing 5D chess that we can't understand unless you're a Kabbalist. Okay, bullshit, I'm not buying it. Maybe yeah, maybe not, I don't know. It's not an answer you can expect me to take, right? But my question is, okay, let's say, what do? Do we write these politicians and rabbis and leaders, do we write them off as being part of the agenda on the wicked, working for the Erev Rav? Or do we just realize that, no, they were being dumb, they were maybe blinded by money and greed and power and all kinds of things, and they're just like us who make mistakes all the time? When do you draw a line and say a person's completely wicked, You could say, why would you call a guy completely wicked and compare him to Amalek for telling people to get vaccinated and they can't show up to synagogues? It's a little bit of a jump. I don't know. What about a guy like Fauci? What about a guy like Fauci? You don't think he's completely wicked? I don't know. But that's more or less what got me into this conversation. I was just trying to understand what we do with people that were not on our side during Corona, keeping in mind that we've also made mistakes. When in the beginning of 2020 lockdowns, I found out this online board of messages called Q, and then the people that read this Q post were called Anons. So it became a movement called QAnon, right? And I was all over my Facebook telling everyone, QAnon, it's this messianic movement. Donald Trump's gonna save us. Today, I'm not really a believer in this stuff, and I kind of feel a little silly and stupid on the things I've said about in the past. But if I could get caught up in a QAnon movement, then why can't Donald Trump or X, Y, and Z rabbi get caught up in a different movement that was false? Yeah. Where I'm standing right now is, by the way, I don't really believe in completely wicked other than Amalek. Where I stand right now is Amalek is pure evil and wickedness. Everything else is an admixture. We probably do have we know we have evil inside of us. We have Satan inside. Of course we do. When we ate from the tree, we internalized the wicked sin. We internalized the sin itself. We internalized the wickedness. So we do have a piece of wickedness inside of us. But most of us would never willfully hurt another person for our own gain. Right? If you're gonna hurt someone, it's probably because they hurt you. It's not because you're okay hurting someone to get some pleasure. No, probably they really hurt you and you're just trying to get revenge. I'm not saying that's okay, but it's not completely wicked, right? It's not like someone raping a child for sadistic pleasure or whatever, It's different. You have an agenda, right? Anyways, fine. Hi. Catch you later. Thank you. Thanks.